Welcome to another episode of Israel Tech. I have here with me the founder, or co-founder, and CEO, Rami Reshef. Rami, thank you.
Thank you,
So
John.
we're over here at your offices at GenCell, and I actually got a tour of the place, and this is really fascinating what's going on. It's insane, by the way. I feel like I'm in some crazy plant.
It's a lunar park.
Yeah, it's a lunar park. It's a great way of saying it.
Yeah.
I keep getting lost, even just in the offices upstairs. I get coffee and I don't even know where I am. So I was saying this is an amazing compound to play laser tag in. Anyway, so tell us a little about
Maybe I tell you a small thing about this lunar park.
Yeah.
You know, we have here around 150 employees. Among them, we have more than 20 PhDs.
20 PhDs?
Yeah, in the field of chemistry, physics, math.
Wow.
Very smart people.
Yeah.
There are some days that I wake up in the morning and I'm not sure that I belong to this company. They're so smart, you know?
Well, let's find out. We'll uncover that in this conversation. So first off, the offices are really something else. Tell me, like GenCell, right? How did it came to be? You've been the co-founder since 2011, right? So a very long time. How did you guys grow? It's so hard to break into something that's so deep in technology and high tech and energy. And in the industry, there's rapid changes and the demands change. And one day people talk about hydrogen, and they talk about solar, then they talk about wind and nuclear fusion, nuclear 4.0. So I feel like there are different trends all the time.
Yeah.
How do you know that what GenCell, maybe you can tell us about what GenCell does, and that the technology is the right solution, one of the right solutions for the long term?
So the honest answer
is you didn't.
We didn't.
Yeah, okay.
But basically, when we founded the company, we are three co-founders, we realized that the challenge that the world is facing, about starting with global warming and lack of energy and all this I would say societies and economics that are staying behind because the grid cannot keep up with all the demand. We realized that it's so big that even if it will take us 2 or 3 decades, still there will be room for solution for this type of challenges. And since hydrogen, I would say, was here for the last 150 years, we felt that it might be that if we can crack the two main challenges of this industry, that basically simple challenges, like every other business, CapEx and OpEx. So okay, if we can deal with all these two main challenges, by the way, that the world faced these issues for the last 100 years, we say this small company from Petah Tikva could bring the answer to the world. And this is what we did from day one. We decided that we started with a small group of 3 people. After a couple of months, we've been 20 people. While we recruited the best scientists in the world, people who worked for NASA and the Russian space programs and submarine, which we brought them over and we gave them this mission. We need to crack these main challenges of what we call it the hydrogen industry, the capex and the OpEx. And I would say the next 3-4 years, we came out with, I would say, our first patents in the field of how we can solving the issue of capital expenditure and the operational cost. And basically, I would say the ability to focus on the main challenges from the beginning, this is what brought us.
What are the main challenges when it comes to hydrogen? And yeah.
Basically, I would say every electrochemistry fuel cell, this is electrochemistry process that actually combined between the ions of hydrogen and oxygen, required noble metal catalyst. What does it mean, noble metal? It's a catalyst that costs more than gold. Okay? So I'll give you just an example.
Don't tell my wife.
No, I didn't tell that to my wife. So, but basically, it's so expensive. It's metals like platinum, palladium that could be double, triple, or 4 times the cost of gold.
Right.
Okay, so just imagine that in every single cell, you need to have a gold. This is one issue. This is one challenge that you need to overcome. And we came out with a new catalyst that basically removed all the non-noble, all the noble catalysts. We removed the noble catalyst, and actually we replaced metals such platinum and palladium with nickel. Just to give you
which
the
is cheap.
super cheap.
So what is it about the properties of nickel that it was able to replace it that the properties of other elements couldn't?
So it's not only a matter of property, it's a matter of the formula. What is the formula that you combine the nickel and the way that you're going to get the same results that you have a noble metal results, or reaction like a noble metal. And I would say this is due to a very, very unique process that we have developed here. It's not only on the, I would say, it's not only the development that we came out in the lab, it's also the ability to scale it up. So, because nowadays, every single unit that left GenCell, every product left GenCell, it's noble metal, non-noble metal catalyst with non-noble metal catalyst. And this is a huge advantage for us. On the other hand, the operational costs, hydrogen is the fuel of the future, but you cannot find it in every street corner, correct? And the main reason for that is that it's super expensive to extract hydrogen from water and to transport it.
Now, you say hydrogen's the future. I hear people say nuclear's the future. I hear people say solar's the future. What is there? I mean, I'm sure there are many solutions. Everything's a part of the future. Do you believe that hydrogen is a bigger part of the future of energy than, let's say, nuclear, solar, or other forms of energy, or even coal, maybe?
Yeah. I believe that everything that is green is part of the future. And I think that there's a room for any kind of a technology that can deliver green energy. Definitely.
But I'm sure there are ones that are less efficient and not as good. So there's not room for everything, right? Like I feel a lot of people have just written off windmills when I speak to a lot of green tech people.
Yeah.
They're expensive. They kill an insane amount of birds. They're ugly in the landscape. You have to rely on wind.
Yes, but they become super efficient if you find the missing part of that. What is the missing part? Is the ability to store the excess energy that they are generating
during the very windy
and we'll deal with that in a second. But if we'll take for example solar. Solar is great, cheap, it's green, but it's at the mercy of Mother Nature. If you don't have sun, you don't have solar.
Correct.
But it's good, it's great. So if you can build, I would say, a consortium of different technologies that can supplement one each other,
right,
you have the right solution. So hydrogen, the beauty with hydrogen is that, I would say it's the beauty and the curse. The beauty is that you have hydrogen in every drop of water,
right.
But the curse is that it's super expensive to extract it from the water. So if you have a way how to enjoy for what the nature, Mother Nature is giving you, then you have the formula, okay? And what Mother Nature is giving us? It's sun, it's green, correct? Water, rainy water is green, and air. What you have in the air? Nitrogen. What you have in the water? Hydrogen. So if you can, I would say, merge the hydrogen and the nitrogen, then you're gonna get the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate energy storage device. We call it NH3, ammonia. So you talked about windmill. This is the perfect way how these offshore windmills, okay, that can generate megawatts of energy can be stored in liquid and transport to the places that the windmill do not reach. So this is why I'm saying that every technology has a room. Okay, some of them have a bigger room, some of them have a smaller place in that, but the combination between them should give us, let's say us, it's humanity, give humanity the ability to produce green energy and make it available wherever it's needed. It's not only, I would say, in super developed economies. It's super important in developing economies where the grid is not there and they need to do a quantum leap, like phones, they don't have landlines. They had this quantum leap to cellular. The same thing, I think, with energy. If you looked on Africa, Central America, and many places around the world, that people lack of energy. There's almost 1 billion people today. This is amazing. Almost 1 billion people lack proper energy for their basic economical development needs. For health, for education, for transportation, they do not have that. And they will never have it because nobody will invest billions and billions of building new infrastructure and grid. So this is why I believe that almost every would say, a single technology that can present energy efficiency, some basic economical, I would say, economical facts that can drive this energy to the market could find their place in this puzzle.
Back to GenCell technology.
Yeah.
So as you're saying, everything there's room for everything. Hydrogen's the future, but it's all the future in some way. So what makes hydrogen unique? Because people don't really hear about hydrogen energy so much. For some reason, I think to the end consumer, it's not as visual, obviously, as solar or wind, etc. So tell us maybe a little about what hydrogen power is, why you think it's the future, and why it will be powering our energy in generations to come.
So maybe let's go back 60, 70 years ago when President Kennedy asked NASA to reach the moon.
Right.
So they looked for a technology that can give energy, heat, and water to the astronauts.
Right.
It was a long journey. So they looked on batteries. Batteries it's not so efficient for this long journey because battery it's good. If you need it for a couple of hours, maybe days, it's great. But if you need it for a couple of weeks, most likely you need some kind of generation system. So you cannot generate, you cannot use, I would say, fossil fuel, diesel or others in the spaceship. So then they found this kind of this type of technology, basically in Oxford University in UK, and then they built the first fuel cell. That actually, due to this fuel cell, Apollo landed on Moon. Okay? But it was super expensive because hydrogen was liquid, and as we said before, everything was based on noble metal, super expensive. But what was the uniqueness? The uniqueness is that you can have a tank of liquid fuel, in that case it's hydrogen, that is no emission, it's not emitting anything except water. Drop of water like from the air condition. And you can put it in closed spaceship, and you can drive through the space to the moon. So this is the beauty about hydrogen. It's have a strong energy density, and it's no emission at all. Okay, so it's great. So if all of us, and I think that as entrepreneurs, as family people, we have our responsibility on Mother Nature because we need to try to leave this Earth to our next generation in a good condition. So we need to fight global warming. In order to fight global warming, you need to reduce CO2 emission. In order to reduce CO2 emission, you need to step away from fossil fuel. Simple as that. So one of the fuel, and it is a fuel, okay, in the shape of gas or liquid, that can generate 100% of green power, it's hydrogen. Yes, it's still expensive. Yes, you cannot find it everywhere, but it's there. And nowadays you can hear from Airbus that by 2030 they're aiming to have airplane based on hydrogen. Alstom have trains that already run on hydrogen. Toyota, Honda with Toyota with their Mirai, Honda with Clarity, they already have cars run on hydrogen. And the main reason for that is that hydrogen, in many aspects, behave like what's called the traditional fuel. Because when you're taking your car to the gas station, in 3 to 5 minutes you leave it. You leave the gas station, you have another 300, 400, 500 kilometers that you're taking your electrical car. In order to charge your electrical car, if you want to charge 30, 40, 50 kilowatt, you need to spend around 45 minutes with a high-fast DC charging station. Yeah. So if you take your hydrogen car, for example, either Toyota's Mirai or Honda Clarity, it's going to take you 3 minutes. So basically, your behavior will be similar to the same behavior that you have with your fossil fuel car.
Yeah, but the good news with electric, you can charge it at home, right? That's kind of the perk, is that you charge it every night.
Yes, but if you want to drive right now from here to Eilat,
right? Okay,
you have an issue. Okay,
but
as we said before, there's a room for everything. So there's a room for electrical car, but definitely a room for hydrogen. Mainly, hydrogen will go for what we call heavy transportation.
Right.
Public transportation that you need to be on the ride, buses, trucks, trains. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to see also airplanes run on hydrogen. Because the fuel itself, the way that you consume the fuel, you don't leave any marks,
Right.
and this is beautiful.
Right. And with the electric, you do because it still needs a power plant to do it, right?
Correct. So even
That-
if
that-
you
that's,
are,
you know,
and
that's
even
like-
if you are not emitting with
If
your
I
car
think
on
I'm
the
not,
roads,
this being where's the energy coming from?
correct.
Right.
So unless the energy comes from solar or
Right.
wind
Right.
or nuclear.
Right.
So there's no, I would say, ultimate and perfect solution, but basically I would think our challenge is to find the best combination, I would say, best formula to meet the challenge of, or say, the needs of society without leaving a lot of CO2 marks behind
Right.
us.
Awesome. So let's get back more into GenCell in a
Yeah.
bit. But let's kind of go back to from kind of like where your career started. You're one of the older CEOs in tech. So maybe you can tell us kind of like what it was like in the earlier days and kind of how have you built up your career and how have you seen since when you started in Israeli technology and in the industry to where it is now. A lot has changed.
Yes.
In the tech world in general, not to mention in Israel. Probably went from you've watched it go from a third world country to a first world country. So I think you have a unique perspective. Maybe you can speak to kind of like what it was, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, and how we're getting here now.
Well, but usually to my kids, I'm telling that the big difference between what was done to today is the speed.
The speed.
Speed. And
The drug? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, go ahead.
They say, well, what do you mean speed? I say, you know what? I still remember the day that I had my first fax machine.
Wow.
And then I still remember the day when we had our first email connection.
I remember that.
With
I'm old
this
enough for that.
noise. Bzzz.
Yeah.
So I would say that the progress of the high-tech environment, of the high-tech industry in Israel and around the world, it's due to the fact that a lot of new technologies come together. And but one thing is common to all of this, what I would say 30 years ago and today, is the ability to identify and recognize a people, smart people, people that really believe with the mission that the company has and would like to make a change. I would say the big thing that high-tech industry bring to the market is that I would say it's a platform for every people in that company to leave his mark on the future. Because if you go to let's put it regular company, regular industry, that you are producing something that it's more of the same, it's okay, there's room to that. But we as entrepreneurs, all the time we try to identify what we call it seed idea, addressing potential big problems. Most of the time you don't know if it will solve that or not. This is the honest answer. And then you decided to jump to the pool. I have a nice analogy to say that it's like you're standing on the roof of the Hilton Hotel and you see below you an empty pool and you decide to jump and you pray that while you are jumping, the water will fill in the pool. So I would say this is the nature of being an entrepreneur in the high-tech industry, and it's okay from time to time to suffer a failure. It's part of it. And what I learned in my life is that people who failed, they came with a better, I would say, experience and knowledge for the second term.
That's good news for me.
Yeah. I failed too, so it's okay. It's part of that. So it might be that I'm convinced myself. Huh?
Right, that's we read. This is what we tell ourselves afterwards.
Yeah. So this is the industry. This is the people. There's a lot of Israel. For one hand, it's a small country, but also it's a big country. One say it's small because you know almost everyone.
Yeah.
It's big because when you are traveling either in India, Mexico City, or New York, always you find someone from the industry, from the ecosystem. And definitely Army has, I would say, the graduation from the Army, and the Army is the way that the Army is shaping the I would say, the spirit of the people. I know that there's a lot of stories of people who's coming from the top intelligence and cyber units, building great companies. It's true. But I think that the best thing that the Army is bringing is shaping the spirit of the people, that everything can be done. Okay, and you should not be afraid from a failure. And as much as the challenges, in the company, you say that as much as the challenge is more aggressive, and the target more aggressive, people has a better or stronger drive trying to reach these targets.
There's a lot of that. So you told me earlier you were in the Air Force, right? And then you were saying, so how did the Army shape who you are to get you into technology? Like, what's your story? Because when you graduated from the Army wasn't nearly as developed in technology as it was now, right? You told me your age. I don't know if I can say it, but it's been many, many decades since you left. So obviously a lot has changed. What was it like then, and how has your career progressed as not just technology has progressed, but the Israeli tech community and the culture and the ecosystem has changed? How have you changed and adapt? Because it's very hard to adapt with such radical transformation from literally almost no technology, right? to, I mean, compared it to today, you'd say it's like no technology. To the technology there is today, it's massive changes, right? So what have you seen and how have you been able to adapt? How has that fed you in your career?
So I think it's a matter of taking the right turn. In our life, we have many junctions. Sometimes we take right, straight, left. And I was lucky when I was relatively young. I started as a cinema photographer. I'm a producer and director. But during this career, I had the privilege to meet a person that influenced my life. And I would say that many, many good things that happened to me, it's due to his blessing. And this is one of the founders of the Israeli tech industry, Mr. Benny Landa. Mr. Landa is the one who invented digital printing. He changed, he transformed industry after 500 years that it was a offset or traditional one. He converted to digital. And I had the right to work with him, to escort him, and to see how he projecting very, very far small company from Rehovot to change one of the biggest industry in the world. And I'm talking to you about 30 years ago, 35 years ago, okay? And the way that he led the company and the people, I think that I learned a lot from him. And I was so lucky in my life that when I founded my first company and I offered him to join, he joined. When I founded my second company and also GenCell, he joined the companies as an investor. And in many aspects, he was my guru. So I found myself here, also in GenCell, that I'm doing things that even without thinking on them, I know that I saw the thing 30, 35 years ago. So I was lucky. I believe that there are many, many entrepreneurs in the country itself that had the chance to learn from the founders of the Israeli high-tech industry and evolving along the time. So it's a matter of taking the right turn, maybe.
So just you by being connected to him has really opened the opportunities, the doors, and the education for you.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
what advice would you give to a younger person now that wants to get into tech? What would you tell them? I'm sure things have changed. They can't say pray for luck. Rami got lucky, maybe. Jump out the window and hope the water in the pool.
I think I will give them a few tips. One of them is you need to work very, very hard.
Right.
Nothing comes for free. You need to be ready to face failures. It's part of the lesson. It's part of the way that you will be better and better. And last but not least, I will tell them you should not fear from aggressive targets. And you should believe in yourself that you can change the world. Simple as that. We have a sentence here in the company who say, most of the people in the world do not know where it is Israel, and more than that, nobody knows where is Petah Tikva. And Petah Tikva, it's not the capital of the world. It's even not the capital of Israel.
Right.
Okay, but you have the right.
It's the capital of GenCell.
I don't know, maybe. But I tell him, listen, but you have the right from Petah Tikva trying to change the world, make the world better for people in Africa.
But the name Petah Tikva, it's actually very appropriate.
You know what? I
Means
didn't thought about it. It's
means
making
develop
sense.
hope, the hope
Yes,
development, right?
yeah, nice.
So-
Yeah.
You can use that one.
Uh,
So that, by the way, so I often tell people that too. It's like, one is obviously don't limit what you're thinking. Anything really is possible. And kind of like just dive in, work really hard, set the goals big and high, and keep making progress.
Yeah.
And you'll find yourself making suddenly, wow, like what you've been able to grow and see. And I've seen that from all the people I've been interviewing so far for Israel Tech and people I've worked with in my marketing company, Wadi, that you see that regularly. Is that it's just kind of, there's a sense of like blind faith partly, and in a sense of trust,
Yes.
kind of in your community, your network, in God, in your friends and people you used to work with, that it will work out. Some connection from the past will come back to the present. And there's just a sense of like, oh yeah, it's just going to work.
Yeah, it's like a spaghetti. It's like one pot of spaghetti, but the secret sauce of this spaghetti, I would say it's a trust. We use the word trust. I think this is super important because if you have trust between you and your team, you and your investors and boards, you can face any challenge.
Right.
This is the most important. And what I learned in my life, and I raised capital a couple of times, is that most of the time the decision that investors doing, it's not about the technology. It's not even about the market. They want to trust the people.
Yeah.
And if they trust you, and you, they will feel that you can lead them in the dark, not in the sunny day. Sunny day, it's easy. It's easy for everyone.
Yeah.
In a muddy day, in a dark day, in a rainy day, they will put their money on you. And what does it mean that they put their money on you? They are trusting you. That's it. And then you need to pay back we need to justify this trust.
Right. You need it. Right.
So
I mean,
this
if
is
you wanna get
this
the
is
trust-
the
if you wanna get the
spaghetti.
trust again,
Yeah, this
or more trust in the future. That's the cycle.
Yeah, this is the spaghetti because
Right.
you are starting a journey right now, and then you can find yourself with the same guy 20, 30, 40 years ago. This is a unique journey.
So you were talking about you've raised funding many times. But can you talk about your experience of the different stages of funding that you've done? So maybe if you can
Yes.
speak to that, I'd like to hear, because the sense of the relationships that you need to build, let's say with VCs or partners or strategic, external from GenCell. It's in a sense, it's not like they have their own different journey and pace because they're in a different industry. At the same time, how do you develop a relationship with a strategist, a partner, or a VC, as an example, to not just give you what you need to support, but you can also give them what they're looking for in profits. And if you can discuss what it's like to earn and build that relationship to a point where they trust you to become a partner, and what you should look for in that partnership there, and how you maintain and grow it from there.
Yeah. It's a big question, Yoel. I'm not sure that I have the ultimate answer, but I try to share from my experience. Okay, I did several of times A round, B round, C round. It's always difficult. Okay, every stage has difficulties. It's every time a challenge. It's so many times. There were so many times that I was day before the paycheck, and I didn't know how I'm gonna pay tomorrow the paycheck, and and I said already midnight. Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow morning. And I went to sleep, and then my wife, she asked me, "How you can sleep when tomorrow you need to pay salaries and you don't have money?" So my answer was always, "I will go to sleep, and in the morning I'll find the solution." So
that's faith.
This is faith.
Emunah.
Yes, this is emunah. This is, you need to have a strong faith that it will be okay. You need to have a strong faith that you are doing the right thing, and protective angels will meet you here and there.
Right.
And there are protective angels.
Right.
Okay, there are protective angels that they will support you in a difficult moment. As we said, if you have the trust and believe in you, and etc. But I would say that every stage has different challenges. While in the early stages, always you can push the vision. It's from one hand, it's easy, I would say, to push the vision and try to ignite people imagination that they can be part of this big vision. But most of the investors they know how to realize risks, and some of them will jump in, some of them not. It's okay. It's part of the game. When the company become more mature, now vision still has place, always has place, but now you need performance. KPIs becomes right now I would say the key vectors for you to raise capital. So if I would say early stages, always it's VCs and angels, etc. When you become, I would say, a corporate that you're becoming in later stages. Now, public money, it's an option. This is a different ball game, totally different ball game. It's a different relationship with the market. But I would say every stage has this uniqueness that you should be agile enough as a leader to adjust yourself to the terms and conditions, like terms and T and C and C in the contract. Let's say you have terms and conditions with this relationship. But what I learned, that the most important thing is transparency. You have good time and you have bad time.
You've what? Good times, bad times?
Good times, bad times. And you need to be very transparent with your investors, with your employees, with your partners. Because only then you can overcome the bad times. Yeah. So I would say there's this spaghetti pot, okay, with, that you need to have a lot of faith, you need a lot of trust, and I think that you need to be strong enough to overcome a lot of dark moments. And there are a lot of dark moments. You know, a lot of people say high tech.
Can you talk about the dark moments? And so we can better understand what kind of strength is needed, because people say strong enough.
Yeah.
And of course there's physically, there's morally, there's spiritually, there's so many ways. But maybe you can walk us through some of these dark moments and what kind of strength you leaned on, and maybe other people that helped you grow through those dark moments and made you better than before.
I'll try to give you some examples, okay? But let's say one of them, it's very simple, financially.
Right.
You run out of your cash and you have 50, 60, 70 employees. You need to pay rent and you don't have money. And your investor right now, you caught them in a corner, they have the lack of liquidity. Although that they want to support you, they cannot support you. And you are a startup. You're going to the banks. The banks say, oh, of course I can help you. But you need to place collateral, but you don't have collateral. So it's a closed circle, you know.
Yeah,
so it's catch-22. It's a law. Another dark moment is that you are signing a contract with a big name, huge name. And this big name, you see the top management of this big enterprise coming to you, this small company from Petah Tikva, the city of hopes, and say, okay, I like you, I like your technology, let's do it together. And you know, he is a carrier, he's moving very, very slow, you are a speedboat. And whatever it takes you a second, it takes him a month. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating because you, as a startup, you want right now to promote your success, and you want to build on this success. I would say tangible KPIs like revenue and installation and PR, etc., etc. And it's a two different clocks. Okay, this is a dark moment because right now you see that the gap is getting larger and larger and larger, and while you build expectation to yourself, to your team, to your shareholders, to your investor, etc., while this carrier is moving in his, speed, and it's totally not your speed. So, and many other dark moments, but related to your question, Yoel, how you can overcome them, that you cannot do it by yourself. You need to surround yourself with strong, talented, experienced people. I would say only strong management, there's no strong leader, only strong management can overcome these dark moments and take the company to a safe shore.
Can you talk about that? Because people talk about there's a lack of leadership, strong leaders, and this it's rare. Strong managers are easier to come by, and generally by definition, there's a leader, and then they have several managers under them, and probably even then middle management. Why is management, in your opinion, more important to get you through that than leadership? Is it because they control the day-to-day of what everyone else does, and in a sense help focus and work on each system in detail and in depth? Is that what they're able to do? Why management's more important in leadership when it comes to coming over these hurdles?
I think that day to day, this is obvious. You should recruit smart, talented people that this is what you're expecting to them to do their day-to-day job. This is why you're paying them. But strong management, to me, this will be people that you as a leader is always alone. It doesn't matter. It could be a CEO or prime minister. It doesn't matter. He's always alone because the entire responsibility is on his shoulders. So strong management means that I can come in the morning and catch my CFO or COO or CEO and say, listen, what do you think about this and this? And he has the strength to give me a different perspective or even different direction than the direction that I initiated days before. So he's reflecting you. It's like they are like a mirror for you. So I would say they minimize the level of mistakes that you are doing, and in many aspects also they give you the confidence that you are not alone.
Right.
And there's many battles companies need to do, management to do, and especially leaders, CEO or chairman need to do. And with these types of battles, you need to know that, I have a sentence to have people in different places in the world. I have one person in the Nordics, and his name is Jan. And from time to time, I told him, listen, Jan, although that you are alone in the front, remember the entire Roman army behind you.
Right.
But we are in Petah Tikva.
Right.
Or in Berlin. So it's super important that you have this strong group of people around you that you can consult with you, that they can reflect to you the reality. Sometimes you as a leader, you do not see the reality as it is because there's many filters. And you need someone that will show you the reality and helping you to take the right decision. This is why I believe that the most important, I would say, feature feature in the way that good leader could run his company, his ability to build a very strong and independent management.
Uh-huh. So go back to your VCs for a minute. Do you want to talk about your partners and how much you've raised and how they've helped you? It would be interesting just to hear you talk about that specifically.
Yeah. So maybe I'll start from the early days. When we started, GenCell, it wasn't a typical, I would say, startup. Because a startup usually, the story, people, 2 or 3 founders sitting in a coffee house with their laptops and building a business plan. I call it the business plan number 3. Why I call it number 3? Because always your projection is 3 times lower. Your expansion is 3 times higher. So it's always but it's part of the job. But GenCell was I would say when we founded GenCell, we had a unique opportunity to found a startup company, but was based on acquisition of 2 veteran companies. One of them is American and one European. Each one of them already dealt with this technology for 10, 15 years. So this is fundamental technology that you need to invest tens of years until you crack the secrets of this technology. So in the beginning, we brought our money. It was a private money. We acquired these 2 companies. And the key assets of these companies was around 20 employees. Some of them were people who worked for NASA in the Russian space programs. So people with a lot of experience, and I'm very also happy to say that almost now, after 13 years of the company, Some of them also still working with GenCell, and they are, I would say, the people who are showing the way to the younger generations. It's very nice to see 80 years old scientists with a 30 years old
That's
PhD.
nice.
It's really nice. So that was the beginning, and after that, we, like any startup, immediately we saw that we are short on money. It's part of the job.
This is a funny thing. Suddenly we're out of money.
Yeah. And by the way, this is, I would say, a tip that I'm giving to every CEO that is building company or starting a start. He needs to know that about 80 to 90% from his time, it's fundraising.
Right.
Okay. And I think personally that I visited almost every capital in the world on the last 10 or 15 years in order to raise capital. It's part of the job. This is why, again, why you need to have a strong management, because most of the time that you are on the roads, you need to know that this vehicle is still up and running smoothly. So you need to know that you have a good people behind you that can push the company to meet company targets. Because without meeting company targets, you cannot raise capital. So, and you raise capital in order to increase or push up the company targets. So it's a closed circle in that aspect. So for a couple of years, we raised capital in the private market, VCs, already mentioned Benny Landa in Landa Venture, that was and still major shareholder in GenCell. I'm super proud of that. And by 2020, when we have decided that we need to do this jump, take the company from a small startup to more mature company with production capabilities, with global approach, with the ability to serve customer in North America and Europe, some in Asia, mainly in Japan. And then we float the company. That also was a very, very interesting process. For me, it was the first time. So for the first time to be a CEO of a public company, it's totally new ballgame.
Sounds depressing, though. Now you have more people to answer to, right?
Yes.
Isn't it harder?
Yeah, but I told you
And
there's
how
no
much-
free meal, you know. It's,
of course
it's
not.
okay, but it's part of the game. Yeah, if you want to read a book, you need to buy it.
True, right.
Okay, so
Okay, so let me. How much is your energy now focused on returning to shareholders now that you're public? Do you feel that sometimes you need to sacrifice long-term success, or that in order to be able to demonstrate profits and maybe distributions?
no, I think it's a matter of scale expectation. This is the most important. Yeah, market has his expectation. It's okay, and but I think a company need to project a transparent results and expectation. And sometimes, you know, you lose, sometimes you win. And also as a CEO of the company, you need to invest time in order to reflect the company vision, company result to your shareholders, because they deserved it. They invested their money in you, simply as that. I think it makes sense. But definitely, you should not sacrifice the long-term vision and the mid-term vision. So it's a balance. It's like a tango. You know, it's one step forward, two step backward. You need to find the right balancing between, I would say, short-term expectation and long-term expectation. I must say that I found out that most of the investors that are investing, I would say the institutional investors, they do have a good understanding that the company should look not only on short term, not only what will be the next quarter. Okay, so if you know how to explain that, you know how to project what you are doing in order to meet short, mid, and long term, you will get their respect. And I think this is the most important. And it's a marathon. It's not a sprinter. So it's a marathon, and as like any marathon, you need to plan your run in the way that you'll have enough energy to reach the finish line.
Yeah, I heard someone say when it comes to fundraising, it reminds me of that when you get a good round, people kind of treat it like the battery on their cell phone. that they're using it. Normally it depletes and then it gets to 30%. Then you put on battery save mode and then maybe you darken your screen, you close your apps. But you need to have always been in like battery save mode from the first penny you get in and you spend it and everything. And it's
This is the advantage if you've been poor for many, many years.
yeah.
So if you've been lean many, many years,
Right.
then you lean and mean. You say, okay, I have money, but now I need to be very, very careful because you know what does it mean to be without the capital.
Right. So okay, this would be a really silly comparison. Before you came, so I was talking to your marketing team. And I was talking about how in college I've had very low standards alcohol, low standards cigars, low standards everything, the way I ate. And so I'm able to now still enjoy and appreciate when I have finer things now, but I still know how to drink very, very bad vodka.
Yeah.
You know? That's why I still tap into that. It's kind of like,
because you have this memory.
because I have that, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's been ingrained in me. And
So this is why I think that this lesson of growing company when you have limited resources, it's super important.
right.
Because it's keeping you sharp
Right.
and focused and lean. And because you don't have the capital, even if you want, you don't have the money. You just don't have it. You don't.
Right.
So it's a good lesson, I think, to
Right.
everyone. And then when you become, I would say, with a more structured organization, with a bit more capital, then you respect the fact that you are in a different condition right now,
Right.
and you are not wasting this opportunity
Right.
to materialize this condition, I would say, to the way that you can present success. Because as we said before, you need to reach to the next point in order to allow yourself the opportunity to fund yourself for the next possibility.
Yeah, and so one of the great things most important things about funding is that you're now able to attract the best talent and engineers, and you're talking about the global PhDs.
Yes.
So let's talk about how you're able to, once you get the funding, how do you go and you recruit and build and maintain a team that are amongst the best engineers or the best PhDs in the world?
So in order to recruit the top talents, what I learned, it's not a compensation package. It's one thing. You need to sell them the dream.
Uh-huh.
If you sell them the dream and they are with you, all the rest it's secondary.
People say about Elon Musk's company, it's the highest demand engineers want to work at are his companies because he's able to sell vision.
I think it's a good example. My older son is a software engineer. When he graduated from the Technion, he told me that he wants to work for Elon Musk at X-Space.
Awesome.
Okay, so when I asked him why you want to work with X-Space, he said because they are doing things that nobody else did so far.
Right.
Okay, so that's it. So if your company it's Me Too company, you are doing the same thing that many other companies. So then the compensation package will work.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But if you are trying to do something else, like part of our vision or our slogan is power for humanity. Power for humanity. Okay, small company from Petah Tikva. But what does it mean, power for humanity? Think about it. People who's coming to work every day, they understand that they have a chance that one day their work that they are doing right now will impact life of many, many people around the world. This is a dream. Mm-hmm. Everybody would like to leave his marks.
Right.
This is my opinion.
Right. No, for sure.
Okay, so this is the
Victor
way.
Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And that's the most important thing is you're able to find meaning in your life to contribute to something greater than you and be able to take kind of that ownership that's
amazing. So after finding these people, sell them the dream, okay, and having them part of your dream. This is the secret. It's not your dream and they are escorting you. Then you need to be one unit. You need to be one team. You need to row together. Because if they will row with you, okay, so your dream becomes their dream. And if your dream becomes their dream, they are there. And then you have the top people. And these top people will be with you in good times and bad times. Okay? And every company in the world has this, I would say, a wave. Okay? So I would say this is in my opinion, this is the secret sauce by recruiting the best people in order to do to implement your mission.
Awesome. So you say you have PhDs from NASA that used to work on the Russian space program. My first question is, are they Jewish? Like, are they Olim? Are they immigrants, or are they here on visas?
Most of them עולים חדשים.
Right.
Most of them. Some of them, they are here on what called walking visas. Okay? But I would say this was the group that we founded the company with. Immediately after that, we started to recruiting PhDs from Weizmann Institutes, from Technions, from Bar-Ilan universities. So it's very nice. If you walk here, you will see 80 years old scientists sitting in the same room with someone that is right now 30, 35 years old. They're working together on a project. While you understand that this guy that is 80 years old is the one that designed the energy system of the Mir, the space shuttle, space shuttle of the Russian space shuttle, or someone else that he was part of the Apollo mission. Okay, sitting with a few young engineers. So this, I would say, cross-generation reaction, cross-generation
Colonization.
Yeah, it's actually, I think, in my opinion, it's allow us to enjoy from all worlds, because I would say the veterans, they're coming with these traditional methods of how to take good idea and bring it to reality, and the young generation, they know how to accelerate it using all these new technologies such as AI and others.
So this is a theme here in Israel. Is that kind of like you were saying, Benny Landau, who came, Landa, sorry. Yeah. Landa came, and obviously you were able to be in his shadow and learn from him. And the teacher wants to teach. The student wants to learn.
Yes.
The student also aspires to become a teacher. And then for the next generation, that I find that there's a lot of this collaboration, not just, of course, between different backgrounds and cultures and things in Israeli technology and in Israeli civilization as a whole, but intergenerational. I think there's a unique respect of the elders, and also I think there's a unique also, which let's say is common in some Far East cultures, like Japan, etc.
Yes.
But what I think what we also have that's unique, and I'd like for you to maybe speak to this shortly, is that there's a unique, like, really hope and aspiration and elevation, and I would say not look up to, but kind of look forward to, of working with the younger generation. So I think there's the energy and it moves both ways. It's in the currents, right? Kind of like where it's a spaghetti, a bowl of spaghetti in a sense, you would say.
Yeah.
How does one foster that kind of culture of exchange of ideas and learning and sharing, both from veterans to new people and new to veterans, vice versa? Or is that just the generic culture in Israeli technology, and we're blessed to be in the heart of that here at GenCell?
I think that in general, this is, I would say, one of the blessing that come out from the Israeli army. You know that all of us served in the army, and although that if I remember myself like a young soldier when I met a general and I wanted to say something, I just stood and I said what I had to say. What does it mean? It means, for example, here in GenCell, we have a slogan who said, there's no stupid idea.
Right.
Everything on the table. And I would say this stream of discussion, stream of ideas from this, from people that you can define them as a leader, experienced leaders on the technology, markets, product, finance, that's okay. But the fact that they can work with the next generation, the people that most likely in the next few years that will replace them, that they come in with fresh ideas. This is a blessing. This is the place where you see this idea flourished. See this idea. People say breakthrough. What does it mean, breakthrough? Nobody is wake up in the morning and say, okay, I have a breakthrough. It's bullshit. A breakthrough come out from an open discussion between different people with different, I would say, mindsets. And this is what we are trying to adopt in the company. But I said that I saw that all over the industry, most of the companies, this is what's called the open doors ability, that even if you are a rookie, you can challenge the CEO. And most of the times, I saw many CEOs that welcome this type of approach. And when the CEO is welcome this type of approach, it's clearly that the levels below him is also welcoming this type of approach. And I think that this type of an open discussion, throwing idea, there's no stupid idea. There's no such thing like a stupid idea. Everything is welcome. Because if you want to find a breakthrough, you need to put everything on the table.
Right. Yeah, I think that removal of hierarchy is very important. Yeah. So the actual technology itself, let's get now deep into what exactly GenCell does. Yeah. How are you able to create no CO2 energy? Yeah. Explain to me the actual technology, the science into it, because so people can understand it, because people don't hear about hydrogen. Yes. And if you're saying, how come I never heard about hydrogen, let alone GenCell? So if you can just speak to the technology, and feel free to get as technical as you like.
Okay. So basically we are developing three types of technology. The first one, we call it hydrogen to power. What does it mean? We are using, I would say, we are combines between hydrogen and oxygen. Okay. This, I would say, molecules exchange between hydrogen and oxygen that is in the air create energy and water. Simple as that. The water is byproduct. This is what we call it hydrogen to power. And in that case, hydrogen, the power or the energy is 100% clean. No emission. This is why it's totally green. Okay? But hydrogen itself, it's a gas. And it's expensive to transport it from A to B. This is why we elevated this technology to a new technology. We call it ammonia to power. Why ammonia? Ammonia, it's a liquid, it's a chemical that carries a lot of hydrogen. The chemical symbol, it's NH3. One atom of nitrogen, three atoms of hydrogen. Okay, and ammonia is the second largest chemical in the world. More than 200 million tons produced annually. And the main reasons for that is, the main users for that, it's agriculture. The bread that we are having for breakfast, the cereal, etc. Everything is based on ammonia. And ammonia, actually, all of our electronic devices, from this screen to our cell phone and laptops, ammonia touch it. It's part of semiconductor process. Plastic, industry, deep refrigerations, and more. So basically what we did, we developed a new technology right now that allowed to transport the hydrogen in the form of ammonia to every corner in the world. And then to extract the hydrogen, and the same chemistry process of ion exchange between hydrogen and oxygen, again, creates 100% green energy. But if we want to be honest with ourselves, the way that hydrogen produced today and ammonia, the feedstock is CH4. It carries a lot of carbon. So if we want to offer what we call green FSG, which means this is the ability to create the fuel, store it, and generate the power at the point of use, which means closed circle economies in that case, okay, you need to come with a new technology. This is our third level. We call it water to power. So instead of hydrogen or ammonia, our feedstock is only what Mother Nature is giving us. It's water, or any water. It's air, because in the air we have nitrogen, and sun, renewable. So this technology allows to produce what we call green ammonia at the point of use.
Okay, so green ammonia is something that is developed here in this building,
Yes.
in GenCell, right here in Petah Tikva, and using the elements of water, air, and the sun.
Yes.
How long does it take for us to like go from idea, hey, we think, let's say on paper, that we think that this might work, or well, let's test this, to the point that you test it and say, hey, it looks like this may work, and then putting it to scale to say this is something that can be brought to scale to market at some point. Like, walk us through those challenging or those milestones, because people just say these things and they're great, but like obviously the amount of work and the amount of mistakes and then damn it, that didn't work, and like it doesn't come up, and like walk us through what that's like.
Yeah. So it starts from, you need to identify the missing part of the equation. We are from 2014, let's say our first product was 2014, hydrogen to power. And then we come with our ammonia to power. And we knew all the time that this is great, but it's not ultimate. It's not ultimate because the fuel itself, it carries a lot of carbon. So we cannot say that we are a total green solution. It's not true. So we say we are a green solution, but we are not total because the feedstock, it's not. So first of all, you need to realize what is missing. And then you need to be clever, that you have smart people around you. Say, okay, guys, we need to find a solution for that. And then it's come incubation of ideas. One of the ideas, let's try to look into what we call it green ammonia, how we can synthesize ammonia without CO2 footprint. This is crucial. And then the moment that you're starting to, I would say, explore different ideas, this is, I would say, the starting point. And then you need to allocate a few people, small budget for research. And the research...
Tell me about how many people, who do you decide makes up this team? What's that budget? How long of a timeline runway do you give them?
So basically on that moment, it's mainly you, it's a product strategy and the CTO. Okay, and it's not a lot of money. It's a couple of few weeks or months until you have a market study to realize what's going on out there. Because it might be that you believe that in your basement you found the best idea in the world, but maybe hundreds of companies already working on that. So you need to understand what's going on in the market. So, but I would say after this incubation part, when you realize that you have a fair chance to present something to the market, because there's nothing out there that can compete with you right now, as much that you know, then you founded, I would say, a group of 4 or 5 people from the CTO group, mainly scientists. You say, okay, guys, let's start the research phase. And the research phase, it's a matter of a couple of months until they are coming back with a program. And this program has usually a couple of stages: research, development, proof of concept, and then you are trying to set some KPIs, say that, okay, it's meeting the KPI, it's not meeting the KPIs. And I would say the most important is trying to find a partner that with the capabilities not only to help you to build this solution product, but also with the capability to reflect to you the way that your results looks like outside of the company. Because when you inside, it's, everyone is biased. You are working very hard, and you want that your results will meet the KPIs. So it's very important to find someone that is out there. I usually call them the co-pilot. You are the pilot, but he's the co-pilot. Mm-hmm. So in that case, we've been very successful. We had a Japanese partner, TDK. It's a great company, really, really great company with great culture, that joined us as an investor in the company on this project, and we are working with them for the last 3.5 years. So we are already 3.5 years in this project, and most likely it will take a few more years until it will be mature to a commercial.
And it's possible once you come there, a competitor may already have a solution or better and all that, right?
Could be. This is the risk
that you take everything. That's the risk. And say, what can we have learned, and maybe a new technology we can build out of it that isn't yet at market, and that's kind of just how it works, right?
Yes, it's a risk that you always take. But I'll tell you something. It's the blue ocean concept. It's right. So when you're approaching a big problem, maybe in the beginning you thought that you can tackle this problem from this angle, and eventually you find yourself that you're on a totally different angle.
Uh-huh.
But the market, it's so big. For example, the green ammonia project, this is $100 billion market. And the green ammonia, it's a market with a CAGR of 75% annually. This is amazing. I never ever met an industry with this kind of CAGR, 75%, not 5%, not 10%. So what does it mean? Opportunities out there. And you don't have time to lag behind. You need to run as much that you can. But for disruptive technology, it takes time. It's like, I always say that it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. Pregnancy always will take 9 months.
Right, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you can have a lot of money and you can pour a lot of money. It's a technology, in development technology. There's some, I would say, solid stages that need to be done properly
in the right,
if you want to reach to the market with a product that could benefit all the stakeholders around it.
That's what we say about as in SEO, search engine optimization.
Yes.
We had a client once come to us. They were an ads and SEO client, a big tech company in Israel. I won't name them, it was years ago. And this year he goes to us, I'll give you $1 million. I need to get to the page 1 for this keyword. And like organically, obviously for ads, we can be there. We're already there.
Yeah.
It's not hard. But I was like, that's just not going to happen. It was like all the money in the world. We can't get you there in the next 3 years, right?
Yeah.
At least like just seeing the competitiveness of these keywords on page 1. There needs to be some like crazy.
It's good to have the money, but still you
I
have
was like, unfortunately,
some steps that you need to do properly.
All the money in the world can't speed up a pregnancy, right? So it's kind of like, it was a parallel for those that are in marketing. They could understand that.
Yes.
If you really want to buy your way, because that's what advertising is for, but not everyone consumes ads. So what's next for GenCell? What should we expect to hear from GenCell going forward? I mean, obviously with the new disruption, the new technologies that you're rolling out. And is there anything that maybe we may read in the newspaper, don't read newspapers, we know what I mean, in the newspapers about the technology that GenCell's working on, but GenCell's name might not be on it, or things like that. How can we kind of get an idea so we can like feel you in the industry?
So as a public company, I can share with you only what I can share with you.
Okay.
But I'll try to give you some kind of direction. I think that something is very interesting. One more lesson that I think that it's important to convey, maybe there's a new founder that that's hearing this conversation that is that right now in his second before he's founded his company. Important message: you never lose the game. Always there's a new way. Right. And I'll give you now a good example, and will be a nice segue to what I want to introduce. There was a big argument between electrical and hydrogen cars. Who will win?
Right.
And eventually, we need to look on the numbers. Okay, although I know I'm a hydrogen person, but I'm driving electrical car right now.
Right.
Simple as that, because there's no hydrogen car for me in Israel. Maybe if I was in Europe or in Japan, it was easier. But since we realized that the car industry is fully dominated right now, maybe for the next 2 decades, by electrical cars, we say, okay, this is a phenomenon of electrical car with a fantastic growth. But this fantastic growth also challenging the grid, because the grid cannot keep up. Right. These numbers worldwide. This is a worldwide story.
That's right.
So we said to ourselves, okay, if the hydrogen is not in the car, or the ammonia, we'll take it outside of the car. So we are launching right now in North America a solution for fast DC charging, okay, with independent EV charging station.
So
from the grid.
It is pulling from the grid.
It's independent from the grid.
Got it. So you bring in.
It's like a 20-foot container.
Right, that's what I was going to say. You bring in a container, and then it generates it for grabbing from the air and it's on water and the sun. It generates it, and you can do a charge in a few minutes.
Correct. It's generating power. It stores the power. Okay, and when you come with your car, it can inject you energy. Between 12 to 18 minutes, you can have your 30 to 50 kilowatt, and you can have your 100 mile.
When can we expect to, when will we see one of these containers in
That
North
will
America?
be, it's meant to be in Q1.
Right now?
Yeah, next
Wow.
24 Q1. Hopefully,
China.
the first one in California, the second one in Texas.
Uh-huh.
We are there.
Is that what I saw outside?
Yes.
Amazing. Very
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
That's
This is the
exciting.
direction. So you saw a prototype here.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
already
yeah.
working, but we completely got all the certification. This is a big news. It's a big news because, again, you remember at the beginning of the discussion, we said there's a room for every technology. So here again, this solution, it supplement the grid that need to support this phenomenon of electrical cars. And just imagine that you can place it everywhere, anywhere. And it's not depends on Mother Nature, which means no sun, no wind, no grid. You need it, it's there.
Amazing. This is like the generator of generators.
Yeah, so it generates a generator with
Ah.
zero CO2 emission.
Ah, it's a good name, GenCell.
Yeah, it is.
Rami, thank you so much for being on Israel Tech. I appreciate your time.
Thank you
Keep
very
up the
much.
great work. It's amazing what you're doing here, and just seeing so many engineers and scientists just walking around. It's a totally different vibe from the other places that we've interviewed, and I can't wait to see very soon what's going to roll down in California. And keep up the good work. Keep changing the world and keeping it green.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure.